Testing for peracetic acid, featuring Taylor's K-1546. Who should use this kit? Taylor's K-1546 contains a simple drop test for measuring peracetic acid, PAA. PAA is produced by reacting acetic acid and hydrogen peroxide to improve the stability of the chemicals. It is a colorless liquid with an acrid odor, and it can be highly corrosive. Peracetic acid is used in the food processing industry as a sanitizer and in pulp and paper manufacturing as a delignification and bleaching agent. PAA is now also being used in cooling towers to control the growth of microorganisms. An environmentally friendly derivative of hydrogen peroxide, PAA is gaining popularity in the industrial water treatment field. It is a strong oxidant, second only to ozone, and is used for disinfection, desulfurization, and bleaching. Because of its high oxidizing ability, PAA is an excellent antimicrobial agent. When applying PAA, it is important to measure the residual level to confirm proper sanitation. Taylor's method for testing peracetic acid is categorized as a titration. Drop count titrations are preferred for field testing because of their portability and ease of use. Taylor's drop tests have an accuracy of plus or minus 10% or better, making them a better choice than test strips, which at best have an accuracy of plus or minus 20%. All oxidizers, including chlorine, are positive interferences for this test. Additional interferences include pH levels above 8.0, total hardness levels over 1,000 parts per million, sulfate levels over 1,000 parts per million, total alkalinity over 150 parts per million, nitrite at any level, nitrate over 200 parts per million, silica dioxide over 50 parts per million, copper over 10 parts per million, ferrous iron at any level, and ferric iron over 5 parts per million. Before beginning this or any other Taylor test, it is best to read the instructions through to the end. Familiarizing yourself with all the steps to come is particularly important if the test is new to you or if the kit is newly purchased, as sometimes our procedures change. This test determines peracetic acid concentrations in systems treated with products that contain only peracetic acid, up to 20%, and hydrogen peroxide, up to 30%, as the active ingredients. The product factor represents the peracetic acid in the treatment product and is used, along with the expected treatment range, to determine the appropriate sample size for the test and to calculate the peracetic acid concentration in the system. The percentages of peracetic acid and hydrogen peroxide needed to calculate the product factor may be found on the treatment product label, MSDS, or Certificate of Analysis. For this demonstration, we will use a treatment product that contains 15% PAA and 11% hydrogen peroxide. The product concentration in the water is expected to be around 150 to 200 parts per million. To calculate factor A, divide the product's peracetic acid concentration by 38. Factor A equals 0.395. To calculate factor B, divide the product's hydrogen peroxide concentration by 17. Factor B equals 0.647. To calculate the product factor, divide factor A by the sum of factor A and B. The product factor equals 0.38. Select the sample size from the chart that corresponds to the peracetic acid treatment range and the calculated product factor. With a product factor of 0.38 and an expected treatment range of 150 to 200 parts per million, we will need to use a 2.5 ml sample. Rinse and fill the 25 ml sample tube to the selected sample size with the water to be tested. Note: for 1 ml and 2.5 ml samples, use a 3.0 ml pipette and add the sample water to a clean, dry 25 ml sample tube. For this demonstration, we are using Taylor's Speedster, which is sold separately, but you can also manually swirl the sample. Using a 1.0 ml pipette, add 0.5 ml of PAA reagent number 1. Swirl to mix. Add 5 drops of PAA reagent number 2. Swirl to mix. The sample will turn a straw to yellow color if peracetic acid is present. Using another 1.0 ml pipette, add 0.5 ml of PAA reagent number 3. Swirl to mix. Wait 15 seconds and then add 5 drops of PAA reagent number 4. Swirl to mix. The sample will turn deep blue. Holding the bottle vertically, add PAA titrating solution dropwise, swirling to mix thoroughly, and counting after each drop until the color just changes from blue to colorless. For this test, we needed 12 drops to reach the end point. Using this equation, we are able to determine the peracetic acid concentration in our sample, which is 182 parts per million. Note: to convert peracetic acid from weight to volume to weight, multiply parts per million peracetic acid by the specific gravity of the treatment product found on the product's label, MSDS, or Certificate of Analysis. Taylor's knowledgeable customer service representatives are available to provide technical assistance about our products. Call 800-TEST-KIT